Luke Skywalker's been around for about 50 years. So here are 5 fun facts you may not know about Luke Skywalker. At number 1, Luke Skywalker is a far better Jedi than his father was. And I'm not saying necessarily stronger because I don't believe that he is, but I believe that he's very much on the level. But what I'm saying is, and it's in canon, Luke was able to resist things that his father never could. And yes, his father was a much more experienced Jedi. He was trained from a very young age. Some would argue, well, Anakin was trained at an older age. Not as much as Luke. Anakin was 9 when he was taken under Obi-Wan's wing and taken to the Jedi Temple at the end of Episode 1. Luke Skywalker, he really begins his training with Obi-Wan when he's 19 years old in A New Hope. So he's much older. But yet, even though he's much older and less experienced, he's able to do things Anakin never could have. I think that's part of some of the traits that maybe his mother inherited to him, because Luke is caring, he's kind, he just has this nature about him where he needs to be in the thick of it and help people. And he starts becoming more and more powerful as the trilogy progresses. When he starts just training with Yoda, of course, he has traits from his father. He gets angry very easy. He loses his temper. He becomes impatient. And at some points, Yoda's thinking whether or not maybe it's even going to work. But we've seen Luke. He's able to resist Emperor Palpatine in person. He won't kill his father, which are things that maybe Vader would have done. You know, Vader gave in to Palpatine. Luke does not. And he throws his lightsaber at one point, telling him, I'm not going to fight you, and I'm not going to fight him, which is really the Jedi way. And this is something that Mace Windu didn't do. Mace Windu wanted to whack Palpatine. Yoda went in there with the intent of doing the same thing. Vader failed. Ultimately, he was redeemed, but he failed. And these are things that Luke doesn't give into, which is why the later trilogies piss me off so much.
Oh, absolutely. And for fact number 2, going into more of his Jedi temple that he went to go establish, there's a bit more of a method to his madness, as his goal was he wanted his temple as far away from politics as possible, as that was the real downfall of the Jedi. And when he went to Coruscant to visit the Jedi Temple known from the prequels, he discovered that there was an ancient Sith temple beneath the Jedi Temple. And he just didn't want his new order to be started in such corruption, and to be more what the Jedi was supposed to be more of peacekeepers, just help people instead of being soldiers in a meaningless war and just being political chess pieces, so to speak. And honestly, that's probably why his Jedi Order is probably going to work a little bit better than it would have if they restarted back at Coruscant.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I can't. In canon, the dark side clouds the Jedi, but the fact that they decided to build their temple atop a Sith shrine or Sith monument or Sith temple, that shit is crazy. Palpatine knew this the whole time, by the way, and he used that to his advantage, and it worked. So
that's why he was able to cloud so many different Jedi.
100%. Fact number 3, and this is something that, as we started the video, some of you guys may not know these facts. I didn't know one of these facts. So Luke Skywalker has had 3 lightsabers canonically, and the second one I did not know about. So we all know that Luke is given his father's lightsaber by Obi-Wan Kenobi in this little hut, and we all saw that at the end of the Revenge of the Sith, when Obi-Wan leaves Anakin there to burn to death, he picks up his lightsaber and takes off, and that's the lightsaber that he inherits to Luke. And I love that lightsaber. That's my lightsaber, man. I dig the design. It's blue. It's the legacy lightsaber, if you will, because it's the one that Anakin had 2 lightsabers. One was lost in Attack of the Clones, but this is the one that he uses throughout the Clone Wars, and it's really like Excalibur, if you will. And even George Lucas has alluded to that. And so Luke gets it, doesn't use it much until Empire Strikes Back. He loses it in the battle against his father, Darth Vader. He severs his hand. The lightsaber's lost. Later on, Ray finds it. That's a different video. And that's his first lightsaber. It was his father's. It's the Skywalker legacy, if you will. But what I did not know, and Griffin was able to find this, is that, so really in between A New Hope, Empire, and then Return of the Jedi, he goes to a Jedi temple. And we all know, we've all seen, well, most of us have seen Rebels. Remember the temple guards? He finds one of the lightsaber that the temple guards used, one of those like yellow ones, which Rey later gets a yellow lightsaber. And that's his second lightsaber. That's what he goes around using it. And that lightsaber is lost. It's taken from him by droid killers. And so he doesn't have it for very long. There's a couple comic runs where he has this one. And then, of course, we get his third and final lightsaber. He's had this thing for, all the way up until the new trilogy. And there's even a deleted scene. At the start of Return of the Jedi, Luke goes to Obi-Wan's hut. And he finds instruction manuals and parts and pieces for lightsabers. And he creates his very own lightsaber by himself. And even Vader is impressed by this technique. Because to us, it may be a meaningful thing. But building your own lightsaber, that's actually like a rite of passage. Like if we go back to Clone Wars, the animated series, if you will, there's an entire 3-episode arc where Ahsoka and little younglings are taken to an ice temple where they have to, create their lightsabers. And there's a whole thing that they have to go through, like, find themselves, their inner fear, find the crystal, and then, the design of your lightsaber and all that stuff. So Luke is equipped enough and has the technique in order to create his own lightsaber. And according to Vader, it's a very powerful and very impressive lightsaber. I never really liked it much. It is very reminiscent of the Obi-Wan lightsaber, but that is just because, Luke he has a deep connection with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was his mentor.
It's his teacher.
He does it more to honor Obi-Wan than anything else. But it's this green lightsaber, man. He uses it, he goes to rescue Han and Leia, and then it's what he uses to confront his father. And so, yeah, it's pretty dope. Those are his 3 lightsabers.
And for fact number 4, Luke Skywalker wasn't always Luke Skywalker. His original name, when he was originally supposed to be like the 65-year-old general, and his own name was Luke Starkiller. But George Lucas thought it sounded way too much like a serial killer, so ended up changing it to Luke Skywalker, and of course, we got a lot more of the Luke Skywalker that we know now. But one thing in tow with that is some game developers in Star Wars end up using Starkiller later on to be the name of, or title of, Darth Vader's second apprentice. So I guess the first apprentice of Darth Vader, not of Anakin Skywalker. And I just think it's pretty cool that they ended up keeping the name and reintroducing it later Starkiller is no longer canon, but in the Star Wars universe, it would be cool to see Starkiller canon again. That would be so cool.
Who the hell knows what Disney's going to do? They could always bring it back in some way. I mean, they brought us a great Legends. Exactly. They brought us Grand Admiral Thrawn. So who the hell knows, man? And for our final fact, I don't know how many know or how many care, given that the sequel trilogy didn't do that great, but Luke Skywalker has actually... Not only did he face off against Snoke, Supreme Leader Snoke, he beat his ass to bits. This is why Snoke is all messed up in the face. A lot of us, including myself, we thought, oh, he's a clone of Palpatine, or he has something to do with Palpatine, or, maybe he's Palpatine's master. Whatever we thought, we just wondered why his face is as jacked up as it is. And the answer to this really comes from a line of comics. They're the Kylo Ren comics. If you haven't read them, give it a shot. They're pretty cool. I mean, the one aspect I did like about the sequel trilogy was Kylo Ren, until they didn't know what the hell to do with him. But at the beginning, they did. And so Luke is training his nephew, Ben Solo. And he has premonitions that Snoke wants to turn him to the dark side. So his idea is, I'm just going to go confront him and get rid of him now. And he does that. He gets in his X-Wing. He goes to... I don't know, he's got like this like weird, like almost poison ivy garden floating city thing. And that's where Luke goes to face him head on, and he beats his ass. He messes him up really, really bad. That's why Snoke's the way he is. And which confuses me, because later on Snoke wants Luke Skywalker brought to him. I had just told Griffin this, just wants that ass whooping again, I guess, because there's no way Snoke is defeating Luke Skywalker. He didn't do it when he was semi-healthy and, more powerful. He's not going to do it now. So,
and for those who think like the comics aren't canon, even Andy Serkis, the actor who plays Snoke, does kind of confirm this by saying before I even think these comics came out, that the scars on Snoke's face are from old injuries, and that ties directly into what the comics did here. And it fits well. Just the rest of the writing in the sequels don't.
Yeah, sadly. So that's it, guys. Those are 5 fun facts that you may or may not have known about Luke Skywalker. Let us know what you guys think about Luke Skywalker. Is he one of your favorite Star Wars characters? And if he's not, who is? And who do you think is a better Jedi? Or who is your favorite Jedi?
And if you're a fan of Star Wars as we are, and you're a huge fan of the Andor series, and you haven't seen Rogue One since watching Andor, you can check out our re-review for Rogue One right now, as you're going to view it completely different.